Queremos una cálida bienvenida a nuestro próximo presentador, Katherine Haine. Katherine es presidenta y CEO del sitio digital citymedia.press de Londres, Ontario, Canadá. City Media, gracias. Es una red de medios digitales de más de 40 operadores de medios independientes, radio, televisión y imprenta, en más de 200 comunidades canadienses. Su nicho comercial es brindar atención a los sistemas de gestión de contenidos personalizados y tecnología de código abierto. Pues the theme of today's conversation is trends in the relationship between readers and their and advertisers. And now Katherine will present.
Great, thank you. So you can hear me okay? Good. I apologize up front. I can't speak Spanish, so I'm going to have to do this in English. And so I'm a little bit away. I am learning Spanish, but it'll take me a little while before I can do a full presentation in Spanish. So I hope there's enough English speakers in the audience that we're okay. I'm going to talk a little bit about personalization. It was a great follow-up to the last presentation, which was all about big data. We're going to talk about market trends in terms of what's going on in Canada and the US markets and how that's been impacting the publishers in our network. I'll just tell you a little bit about us and what we do so you have a sense of the scope of our network. Essentially, 10 years ago I started City Media, and we work primarily with small market publishers. Small market publishers are publishers that have a circulation of less than 50,000 in their market. So there's, according to editor and publisher, and according to a lot of the data in Canada and the US, almost over 90% of the market is actually a small market publisher. So we really believe in the strength of aggregating all of those smaller market publishers into one consolidated network. And we provide all of the digital back-end support. So we get involved with helping them with their content management, development, digital strategy, certainly their advertising strategies, and helping them generate revenue online. So our office is based in London, Ontario. We are in 200 communities right now. It says 40 here, but we've just recently expanded into the US, and so we've got an office in New York, and so we've expanded, we've got 10 new papers, onboarding a lot of American papers as well. One of the biggest trends that we see in the marketplace is about market personalization. This ties right into the big data conversation that we were just having. Moving your audiences from sort of anonymous to the known is critical. Knowing who your audience is and knowing how to leverage that audience is probably one of the most important trends that we're seeing with our publishers in their marketplaces. And being able to translate that into meaningful dollars. So today I'm going to talk about specifically two case studies. I'm going to give you two examples of two papers that have been able to generate revenue by figuring out this personalization model. This is a business case, and so we're looking at the revenue that they've generated, not necessarily on the audience side, but a lot of this has application on both readers and audience. Technically what we're doing is we're leveraging an audience for an advertiser, so there's sort of a triangular relationship between those. Personalization is the trend. We see it everywhere. So when we buy travel, it's personalized. When you buy from Amazon, it's personalized. And when you buy a Coke, it's personalized. So personalization, knowing, and the more people know that you know who they are, even if it's as simple as finding your name on a bottle of Coke, it feels more like you. But there's a gap. There's a really big gap. With the publishers that we're working with, 80% of them, which is significant, say that they have trouble with personalization. How do we do it? I think conceptually we understand it, but going from conceptual to execution is a really difficult process. Yet from the other side, if we look at it, readers and advertisers, 85% of them expect personalization. They expect that we're in an age, and they see it from technically our competition in a digital world, which would be when you buy from Amazon or when you do something and they recognize you by name and they know what your purchase history is, we expect that. That's become the benchmark for purchase patterns for all consumers right across the board. So how do you deliver that? There's about 66% of the publishers that we're talking about notice a growth in revenue and performance, just don't know how to get there. It's really important, and here's the why. It's as simple as getting people to a yes, right? Whether you're selling subscriptions, whether you're selling content, whether you're getting people to engage with your product, or whether you're selling advertising. Recognize them by name, 56% say yes. Recommend them based on past purchase behaviors, it goes up a little bit further to 58%. Know their history and what you've bought from me before, all of a sudden we're up to 65. Match all three of those components and you're up to a 75. It's worthwhile. It really is worth the effort to figure this out. Here's just another example of how, what business to business versus business to consumers are expecting. Business to business would mean a newspaper selling to advertiser. And I think the third one in the end is probably the most important. Businesses is the yellow, so 65% of businesses are likely to switch brands if a company doesn't make an effort to personalize their communication. That's substantial. So creating that loyalty with your advertisers, creating loyalty so that they know, and building that trust so that they know who you are and that they understand that you know what they need is significant. So a lot of the publishers in our network, still a lot of them are in phase one, untargeted. There's kind of the same message for everybody. Some of them are moving into phase two, basic segmentation by you like sports versus you like travel, those kinds of things, and sort of offering offers based on those key segments. But where we need to get to is this fully personalized. Recognize me, know me. Cross-channel integration, know me across all of your channels. So recognize me in every single place that you're delivering my information to me. And start understanding my behavior, segmenting that so that we can deliver that back to both advertisers as well as gain a better understanding of our business and our readers. So the papers in our network, what are they doing? Number one priority is improving their capacity. Everybody knows that they want to get there and sort of understanding what kind of data can they gather and how is that going to have a positive impact for them. Certainly looking at desktop and SMS, and text messaging, registering users and understanding who their users are. Just to mention, the papers in our network, like the small market papers or the local papers with the circulation under 50,000, most of them aren't subscriber papers. So they don't have that subscriber model working for them. They're a controlled circulation paper, which is where they deliver it to X number of households within a particular community. So in a lot of cases, all the information that they have about their audience is based on where they live. They know if they live in a single-family home versus an apartment. They know what area of the city they would live in. That's about it. So really encouraging people to come back and register online and get some more information about who those readers are, again, can be translated into meaningful advertising dollars. Optimizing content for social, certainly optimizing for SEO and emails and just general efficiency. So we're going to go through some examples. I've got two that are a little bit different, both separate newspapers. We've really experimented with a lot of different things. The interesting thing for us is we've been doing this for 10 years, and so we've been working with 50, 60 papers over a 10-year period. Every single issue, we've been capturing all of their data. So we have a substantial amount of data in our organization, and that's really what prompted us to step out and sort of experiment with this. The nice thing is it's all available within our platform, so we were able to export it and utilize it in the ways that we wanted to. So in that example, we were able to sell print on demand. Very cool and interesting idea is to be able to sell actual print products through an e-commerce model online, and I'll show you how that works. Developing a data-driven dashboard to qualify prospects and improve the timing in the sales process. Every news organization that I've been in is the salespeople are completely overwhelmed with the number of products that they have to sell and the multiple competing priorities and sort of understanding what to do. So sort of streamlining that and giving them better timing in their sales process was critical. Personalized email marketing, so using email in a personalized way to sort of start the process. Tracking readership preferences to increase revenue for print advertising, and membership models. Again, trying to drive more information from controlled circulation publications. So the first example that we're going to look at is Keene Sentinel. Keene is in New Hampshire, but they cover a market area of New Hampshire and southern Vermont, so they kind of cover 2 states. And they have a number of we call them specialty publications. So these would be outside of their core product. They have a weekly core product that is very strong and solid, but they have all of these extra revenue generators that they do outside of that. bridal publications, special sport publications, special event days, calendars of events, all of those kinds of things. Managing that through their sales process has been a challenge for them. So we took one of their core products, this Tasty publication that you can see. It's a restaurant guide for good food in New Hampshire and Vermont. And what we did is we used their data, automated intelligence, to build renewals, acquire new customers, and re-engage past customers. So we really had 3 different strategies that we were working with. The first one, renewals, was really to personalize the advertising and capture the data that we had so that we could increase the number of renewals online. Our theory is buying an ad, a renewal ad, is a transactional act. It doesn't require a salesperson to go out and actually talk to them. So if we could streamline that and turn that into an e-commerce sale, we would take a lot of the weight away from the sales department so that they could focus on acquiring and re-engaging new advertisers. So we had a number of data sources. CRMs, of course, they were on a Salesforce, and so we were able to capture some data from there. We had tear sheets from last year's issues, digital tear sheets, because they ran through our dashboards, so we had them in there already. Certainly information from accounting, so we knew how much an advertiser had paid last year. We had contact information, so really just basic information that we acquired from a couple of different sources. We started with a personalized email. So sending out this email, recognizing them by name. You can see the first name in there. That's our first step in sort of getting to the yes. If you remember that slide I had before, 55% say recognize me by name. Really does make a difference. Another point just to mention is make sure that the email comes from a person. So every one of these emails, every account in every organization is attached to a salesperson. So make sure that that email comes from that salesperson. The picture of the ad is in the bottom corner. We pulled their digital tear sheet from last year, put it in the bottom corner, talked about the benefits and sort of the reason why they would want to. And this is a campaign, so we did it 3 times. First time, hey, the renewal's coming up. Second time, a little bit of a countdown, talked about another sales feature. Third time. So we reached out to them three times. Total project ran for a month. The Renew Now clicks through to a dedicated landing page. So this is a custom landing page. There were 61 advertisers in the publication last year. That means 61 landing pages. It's very easy to do. We use dynamic text replacement, so we replace the text so that we can say, attention, advertiser name, so britishbeer.com, a copy of their ad, so you can see their actual ad, and the reminder that it's time for them to renew. When they click through from that landing page, they go directly to their ad. This is a shopping cart, essentially, where they can add to the cart, purchase, or bill me later. And so actually close the transactional sale right there. So what happened? Well, it was $16,000 in revenue. Average ad sales about $1,000. We sold about 16 ads. So if you look at it, 61 advertisers, open rate on the emails was almost 75%. It's huge. It's because they were in the publication last year, high level of trust with the client. We recognized them by name. They saw their ad in the email. They knew it came from their salesperson. It was a personal email. Over 40% clicked through to the landing page, and we closed almost 25% of them. So significant sort of jump in, absolutely turnkey. We plan to roll that out right across all of their specialty publications next year. The next level, so that's renewals. That's sort of one campaign that's going on. The next level of campaign is really to re-engage the past advertisers. So that's a little bit different. So they wouldn't have advertised last year. We took anyone who advertised in their publication or any of their publications over the last 2 years and identified them by SIC code. So SIC code is a standard industry classification code. In this case, we selected advertisers that were in the restaurant categories, and we were able to pull out those from our database and send a similar campaign out to that market. Key is, of course, is that you're capturing SIC codes when you're putting the information into the database. In this case, they were. We can still recognize them by name, different campaigns, so now we can talk to them about the benefits of the product, not necessarily talking about advertising last year, but also giving them an offer or a bonus for coming back to advertising in the publication. This again takes you to a landing page, which is another landing page completely dedicated to where they can inform themselves about the product. The really interesting stat that we've come across is 60% of the purchase is made before they talk to a salesperson. So that's a lot. 60% of the decision is already made before that salesperson picks up the phone. So if we can reach an advertiser, and we all should be able to, should think like advertisers, we're all in business, and so when, we're busy, right? And so in most cases, the salespeople aren't able to reach the advertisers, let alone talk to them on the phone, let alone getting them to sit down and have a conversation. So if we can reach them, they can open this up, 11 o'clock at night or whatever when they're checking their emails, go through it, have a really, really consolidated landing page, tells them everything that they need to know about that publication, about the ad closing deadlines, about the distribution, about the why, all of that information. Advertisers a little pre-sold along the sales process before the salesperson gets to them. Now we were able to use, it's not, sort of a low level of automated intelligence to track all of this activity, which is kind of an interesting example. So what happens is the email goes out, we assign it as a hot lead. We call it a hot lead to the salesperson, give it 1 flame. When the email goes out and it's opened, so you go on to the landing page, you get 2 flames. If you go to the landing page, I'll just go back here. If you go to the landing page and you click on the green button, you can either get it now, send me more information, but it's sort of a 3rd level of engagement, gets 3 flames. So the salespeople get these emails delivered into their inbox so that when they come in the morning, they have X number of hot leads assigned to them. Very simple for a salesperson. There are 400 names in this sort of industry classification list, and we were able to sort through those 400 names to deliver specific emails to specific salespeople, and they can open them and follow them through. Everything goes into a sales dashboard, so that's kind of what it looks like. You can see with 3 flames, 2 flames, 1 flame, and we really coach the salespeople that if they are able to follow up on that lead within 24 hours, there's a much higher opportunity for them to close. So what happened? Another $16,000. So we really, the open rate is lower, but the total number of emails that we had to send out was higher. The click-through rate was, but not that much lower. I mean, it was still 35%, which is pretty good. The click-through rate was about 15 to 16%, and again, we closed about 7 or 8% of them. So another $16,000 into the sale. The nice thing about this is you have salespeople that feel really excited about following up on their hot leads. It really generates a really interesting sales dynamic. The third was for new prospects. And so in this case, we purchased a list of restaurants and bars in the Vermont and New Hampshire area and did a straight out blast. And so we were brand new people that we've never talked to before. Walk them through the same process. They get an email. We take them to a landing page, talk about why they should be in the publication, and then start alerting the sales team. So again, the results from this campaign, again, list was much bigger, 25,000. But the close rate still brought in a substantial amount of revenue. So the results, 70% of the revenue was essentially generated from the big data. And I think that's a term that can sound really intimidating it certainly did to us when we started, and it did when we went into the organization and said, let's use your data to start selling your advertising. But when you sort of look at it, I think we all have a lot of this data at our fingertips, and we can sort of pull it together and even just get started with something as simple and practical as this that generates a substantial amount of revenue. So now you've got a more organized sales team, you've got a system in place that's going to automate your renewals for you, and you've got about 70% of your revenue generated through a sales process. The advertisers preferred it. When we talked to the advertisers, it was like, yep, we would really rather not talk to a salesperson until we're ready. And I think that's probably consistent with any of us when we're talking about advertisers. And we're going to roll it out to all of their specialty publications across the network. Key learnings from it is we need better lists. Always, always, it's garbage in, garbage out. The better the data, the better the output, right? So we really need better lists. So sales reps forget to put in emails. Emails get bounced because they didn't put them in accurately. Not putting in the industry classification codes can make a big difference. Not having the digital tear sheets for all the products, that also impacts the outcome. The second one is a different scenario, but it's business related, looking at how we can sort of reinvent the advertising model by using the data and the knowledge that we have about our readers. In this case, this is a newspaper in Hudson, New York. The Hudson Valley 360 is their website. We wanted to leverage their reader data to change their sales model. So we were using, again, personalization and the data that they had available to generate a higher ROI for their advertising. So in a nutshell, what we were doing is an ad in the publication is $150, or sorry, not $150, $1,500. So the ad is $1,500, and that would be their flat fee. That's typically what they charge for that size of ad. And the client, it was the client's idea. It's like, what if we don't pay you for the advertising, we pay you for the performance? I'm sure we've all heard this before from advertisers. They always want to not pay, and I'll pay you when you get me the results. It's a little intimidating, but I can walk you through this example and show you that it turned out to be a lot more profitable as well. So the goal really was, can we increase the value of our advertising sales by offering a really targeted solution to the advertiser? So our sources were email, of course, and so we did it as a campaign with special offers. ×3 is always our rule for campaigns. Run-of-site advertising and retargeting, which retargeting was really effective, and I'll show you how that worked. Custom audiences, so creating custom audiences in social, and reposting on deal sites. On this is $13,000. It's a big difference between $1,500 is what we would have had for a flat fee versus our opportunity. Now we just had to see if we could do it, and how much would it cost us to get there. Well, first of all, we ran the ad in the paper. And when we ran the ad in the paper, we sold 9 mattresses. So that's kind of our benchmark. We would have had that regardless. So that's where we started from. The second one is we personalized the campaign to subscribers. So we have a subscriber list. In this case, they did have a subscriber list. We personalized an email campaign that talked to, well, we knew from this kind of mattress, a $650 mattress is in the higher end category. So we knew that our target audience was single-family homeowners as opposed to people in apartments, and we certainly knew that from our subscriber list. So we segmented the subscriber list and sent out the email talking specifically to, by first name, because we knew their name, that they were single-family homeowners. And we talked about the values of having a good sleep. So, you're going to have more energy, you're going to feel, all of these things. And we ran a wake-up campaign, wake up to the news in the morning. So we threw in a bonus of an extended circulation for them. Extended subscription. So again, they click through on here and they go to a landing page. As soon as they went to the landing page, we captured their IP address. And so we were able to save that IP address and use that on the website. So, sorry, I got ahead of myself. I got so excited about that part I didn't show you. So what happens if you click on the email, it takes you to a shopping cart where you can actually purchase the mattress. So we had the mattress set up in a shopping cart, $650. There were different prices, but that's just sort of an average. And the average was on the email was about 2.5%. So directly from the email itself, email to landing page to shopping cart was 18 sales, twice as many as we had from the print publication. So now we're getting up around 27, right? So the next exercise we did was the run-of-site retargeting. So this was really interesting because, as I mentioned, we captured you go to the landing page, we grab your IP address, and we capture that IP address, so we know your subscribers, so you're going to come back to our newspaper website, so we're able to create a customized homepage experience for you when you get back to the website. So we had special online prices, we had the mattress piece like right on top, only for the people with that IP address. We had a special promotion on the side as well as, wake up to the news in the morning campaign. And this would happen every time they would come back to the site. So we tracked it from the email, click through, we had the special pricing, and we did retargeting from this page. We had a special article, we had a few articles in there about the value of getting a good night's sleep and how much better you're going to feel in the morning and those kinds of things, and just sort of created that content loop so that every time that they came back, we continued to talk about that message. 34 sales. Fantastic. We ran that over a month, and so we had 34 sales from that web with the personalization. So it really does make a difference. You can see in a lot of cases, we would have had 3 touch points with that client at this point, at least 3 touch points, because we sent out 3 email campaigns, so depending on which week they actually made the purchase. They got to the landing page, they've been to the website, they've probably read the content marketing piece at this point, and then they click through and actually purchase the mattress. We did another interesting experiment. I think there's a lot more to learn from this one. I don't know that we did this as well as we could have, but we created a custom audience in Facebook. It was the first time that we had done something like this, but we took the subscriber list And Facebook has a custom audience feature where it will actually look at your mailing list or your subscriber list and identify an audience within Facebook that match. So we did a targeting similar audience by geography and interest. Interest being we knew who these people were, we wanted to find more of them. We ran that campaign for a month, and we sold another 16 mattresses. We also tried promoting to affiliates, and so that one didn't work so well. Because we're a network, we're able to take that kind of offer and put it into advertising on some of the other newspaper sites. Trouble is with a mattress, it's not going to, they were selling it in New York. They're not really going to ship a mattress to Vancouver, so that wasn't really an option. We experimented, we sold 3. So the total was we sold 80 mattresses. So the total revenue that we earned was $9,600. Remember the base price, or sort of what, the sort of regular ad price was $1,500. Our cost, it cost about $3,000 to run the campaign over the month, including paying someone to manage that. So that included the Facebook costs, it included the email costs, it included the opportunity costs on the website itself, it included the retargeting. So our total costs were about $3,000. ROI was about $6,600. We nearly made 70% more by using that level of personalization. So the key learnings were really retargeting absolutely was the most effective. I think we have a lot more to learn about how that could work. We need a better deal subscriber list. I think we needed to be really aware of what I would call subscriber burnout. You don't want a subscriber and push a mattress on them and have them get tired of their subscription because we tried to push too many commercial or advertising sale products on there. So what we did is we've started a campaign to develop a deal list only. So a deal list only means, yeah, I'm interested in deals from your publication as opposed to just a subscriber list. So the benefits, well, we know personalization is important. Over 90% of the publishers in our group plan to do something in the form of personalization, which is really, personalization is how can you sort of at a grassroots level, which is where we are, how can you do that? How can you leverage the data in your organization to start that personalization right now? 66% believe they'll have a more efficient sales process, which is really critical. Having an engaged sales team is getting those hot leads, putting into their inbox and following up on the right prospects really makes a difference. And on average, revenues are up 19%. In the 2 examples that I gave you, revenue was up substantially more, but on average, it's around 19%. Still worth it. So the key learnings is always be authentic. Don't send out an email that looks or feels like a blanket email. The whole idea behind personalization is you need to recognize me as me, understand what my buying behavior is, understand as much as you know about me so you can talk to me as if you're sitting right in front of me. Send it from a human, not a brand. So in every case where we were communicating, we had the salesperson's photo in there. We identified the salesperson as who they were, so it looked like it was coming from someone familiar, because it was. Use as much marketing automation as you possibly can, because the detail in these tasks will drive you crazy. So automate as many processes as you can. Have multiple touch points. So like in the mattress example, if you can reach the client through the email, through the landing page, through the website, possibly through the Facebook, your sales will go up incrementally. And that's a really interesting concept of turning the publisher into a retailer. Call the customer by name, create the landing pages, and in the end, have as clean data as you possibly can, because it's really worth the effort. So that kind of gives you an overview of some of the pieces that we've been using. I think that, in terms of personalization and big data, if I could suggest anything, and certainly do with any of the publishers in our network, is don't be intimidated by it. It looks like something that's it looks complicated, and it is complicated, but you've got to start somewhere. So if you don't dig in and start learning about it and start experimenting with the data that you have now, then you can incrementally make improvements to your process. So thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Katherine.
Thanks.